Hello everyone. This is going to be a 200 Q&A test. Plaintiff attorney is Mr. Jeffrey, Jeffrey. Defense attorney is Mr. Baker, Baker. Again, plaintiff attorney Mr. Jeffrey, Jeffrey. Defense is Mr. Baker, Baker. This is going to start with defense attorney. Ready? Okay, and all I'm saying is because this statement was taken earlier in time, was your memory better, do you think, back when this statement was taken than it is today? It probably was better then, yes. Okay, again, please feel free to use the report as you feel it appropriate on the day of the accident. And when I say the day of the accident, I'm going to be referring to March 5, 2016. You were driving on Ocean Avenue and you mentioned that you encountered a group of some motorcycles, and that was within minutes of your getting onto Ocean Avenue, correct? Yes, that is right. And the motorcycles, do you recall how many there were that you saw or that you perceived? There were quite a few. I mean, they just kept coming. Okay, can you give us an approximate? It is hard to tell, but I would say there could have been 40 or 50 of them by the time the accident occurred. Okay, and with regard to the motorcycles, did they all pass you? Yes, they did. They were driving at a high rate of speed. Okay, and let me look at this statement to help assist me for a second, okay? New question. With regard to your vehicle, were you the only person in the car? I was the only human in the car, yes. Okay, so you had your two dogs, is that right? I had my two dogs with me, yes. Okay, and Ocean Avenue has got one lane going east and one going west? Yes, that is right. And you'd been traveling, the statement says, at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. Is that an accurate statement when the motorcycles passed you? Yes, that is an accurate statement. Were they? They were obviously going faster than you were, is that correct? Yes, they were going really fast. And do you have any estimate of their speed, or was it just fast enough to get around you? I don't really know that I could estimate their speed. Obviously, it had to be more than 40 miles an hour, and they were flying, so it was pretty fast. Okay, they got around you pretty quickly? Yes, they did. And that series of motorcycles, once they got around you, did they continue on ahead of you? Yes, they did. All right, and when you first got onto Ocean Avenue, did you ever notice any other vehicles that were in front of you? Do you mean when I first got onto Ocean? Yes, ma'am. No, not right away, no. Okay, at any time before the motorcycles, this group of motorcycles all got past you, did you ever notice that there was another vehicle in front of you? You mean when they all first started passing me? Yes, well, as soon as you got onto Ocean Avenue. Because this happened for quite a few miles. It wasn't just a group of motorcycles that passed me, and that was it. Okay, what do you mean? There were several. It took several miles. All of them just kept coming. Okay, so this went on for a couple of miles, right? Yes, it did. I think they were in a group. And then was there a time that the motorcycles finally passed you? Well, not entirely all of them, no. I think there were more behind me. Was there a time when you saw another vehicle in addition to these motorcycles? When I say another vehicle, I mean another vehicle that was in front of you. Yes, there was a vehicle in front of me. Okay, let's try and get an earmark as to where you first saw that other vehicle. How long had you been on Ocean Avenue when you saw that other vehicle? Well, not that long. I think it was about 5 or 6 minutes at the most. Okay, and what kind of a vehicle was that? Do you know? Oh boy, I believe it was another SUV. Was that the vehicle that was ultimately involved in the accident? Yes, I think it was, yes. Okay, and do you recall what color that other vehicle was? It was a dark color, that's all I remember. Okay, and by the way, ma'am, one other thing that he may not have mentioned earlier, if there's anything we ask of you today that you don't recall or you don't know, that's fine. You just let us know that, okay? All right, thank you. Okay, and as you are headed westbound on Ocean Avenue, when these motorcycles were passing by you, did they also pass that other vehicle? Yes, they did. All right, and then did you continue at that speed at about 35 or 40 miles an hour? Yes, I did. Excuse me, was that the other vehicle? Was that vehicle going about the same speed as you were going? Yes, I think so. Now, when we say the other vehicle, we mean the vehicle that was involved in the accident. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. And there were some vehicles that were behind your vehicle as well. Is that correct? That is correct, yes. The motorcycles, I mean? Yes, correct. And you have here in your statement here, they were traveling about your speed at a safe distance behind and they weren't tailgating. Is that right? Yes, that is right. Okay, you also have in here that the cyclists did not appear to be riding recklessly. Is that correct? Oh, well, are you speaking of the person that got in the accident, or are you talking about all of the rest of them? Let's make sure that we are clear. As you were headed westbound on Ocean Avenue, and I'm still talking about the time when they were passing you, okay? All right, I understand. Okay, so of those motorcycle riders, were any of those motorcycle riders driving in any way that you felt was recklessly or out of control or too fast? Absolutely, yes, some of them were. And what were they doing? Can you describe why you felt that way? Well, they were just, first of all, they were passing me on both sides of the car at the same time. Okay, that makes sense. And they were going out over the double yellow line, and I almost had to slam on my brakes because they cut in so close to my car. Okay, so they were driving close to you and they were passing sometimes in twos, okay, and threes. They were also turning their bikes back and forth from the inside to the outside of the lane. So you kind of maybe didn't feel real comfortable when they were doing that, is that right? Oh God, no. I was thinking that someone was going to get killed, and that's exactly what happened. Okay, so then that group of motorcyclists passed, is that right? Yes, but they, like I said, they kept coming and there were more people behind me too. Okay, doing the same thing as the ones in the front. All right, and then now you, a minute ago, distinguished between the fella who was involved in the accident as opposed to those. Do you recall the distinction? Yes, I do. All right, now with regard to the fella that was ultimately involved in this accident, you can kind of close your eyes and picture that rider, can you not? Yes, I certainly can. Okay, and now with regard to that rider, am I correct in understanding that that particular rider you never saw being reckless or speeding, is that correct? Well, I really didn't have a chance, so I can't say. I mean, he came up behind my car and was driving for just a little while. He was behind my car for just a second before he passed me. Okay, and you have in the statement here, you said that he was not tailgating, is that correct? No, he was not. I do remember that. Okay, and you said that he was driving at a safe distance behind you? Yes, it seemed like it, yes. It did not appear to you that he was driving recklessly, did it? No, he wasn't. I didn't think he was, no. Now let's go back. I want to kind of take this in sequence as you're westbound on Ocean Avenue. And by the way, do you have an estimate of the distance between the time you got on Ocean Avenue until the accident happened? Oh, I'd be guessing, so no, I don't. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we don't want you to guess. In depositions, we oftentimes tell witnesses and parties that guesses don't do any good, okay? Right, that makes sense. Well, but estimates, if they have some perception from life's experience, they oftentimes can help the parties understand. For example, if I said how long are the earpieces of these glasses that I'm holding, you could probably, from your life's experience, tell me, maybe they're 5 or 6 inches. I think they're longer than that, though. Okay, well, there you go. And if I said, hey, how high is the vase on my desk in my office? That's going to be a guess. Do you follow what I'm saying? Right, yes, I do. Do you follow? Does that make sense? Yes, it sure does. So what I'd like you to do is, if you could, just using your life's experience, tell me if you can again. If you can't, let me know the distance, how many miles it was between the time you got from Orange to Ocean Avenue until the actual time of the accident, approximately at approaching Beach Boulevard. Do you want to know how many miles it was? Yes, and you can give me a range, ma'am, if you feel more comfortable doing that. Oh, I would say about 5 miles approximately, maybe 4 or 5 miles, 5 miles at the most. Okay, that's fair, thank you, that helps. And then as you are headed west, the motorcyclists started to pass you, is that right? That is correct, that is when they started to pass me. And when did you first see the motorcyclist that was actually involved in this particular accident, do you know? I saw him after about 30 or 40 or 50 of those guys had already been passing me. Okay, and he was still behind you? It seemed like he was, the last of the bunch, and I was kind of breathing a sigh of relief saying they're gone. Okay, but he was still behind you? he was still behind me, and I believe there was one other person behind me too. Okay, now as you were westbound on Ocean Avenue, did you maintain pretty much around 35 to 40 miles an hour? Yes, I think I did, yes. And from your perceptions after seeing that other car, and when I refer to the other car, I'm referring to the lady that was ultimately involved in the accident. Fair enough? Yes, fair enough. Okay, now when you were headed westbound, did the other car seem to be going about 35 or 40 miles per hour as well to you? Yes, if I had to estimate, I would say yes. Okay, and you were watching as this initial group of motorcycles were passing, and they were passing not only passing you, but they were also passing her. Right, that is correct. And when I say her, I am representing to you that it was the female who was driving the car that was involved in the accident, okay? Okay. Okay, we have a word list. We've got Ocean Avenue, capital O-C-E-A-N, Avenue, capital A-V-E-N-U-E. SUV is capital S, capital U, capital V, no periods, no spaces, all caps. Orange, capital O-R-A-N-G-E. Beach Boulevard, capital B-E-A-C-H, space, capital B-O-U-L-E-V-A-R-D. And that concludes our 200 Q&A test. Good luck.